And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. You're joined once again with your host, Sean Gervais from OrbisX, as well as Marty, Mr. Marshall Hill from the Pints and Polishing Podcast and HyperClean Car Care Products. That's right. How you doing, Marty?
Man, having a great day. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm feeling incredible.
Wow, you are.
Thanks for the setup. Yeah, it's Halloween, obviously, so gotta, live the part, dress the part. And I have a funny story from this morning, actually. So I had to go to my one daughter's not feeling so well. She's probably going to miss trick or treating today, unfortunately. But I went to get her some children's Advil this morning, and so I went to drive my other daughter to school. She was wearing a costume, and since she's going to a high school and she wasn't sure if other kids would wear a costume, as a sign of solidarity, I decided to dress up for her. Drove her to school, dropped her off at school, and then on my way back, I said, "Oh shit, that's right. I have to go pick up the medication." So I went to our drugstore here and I walked in completely forgetting that I was dressed like Mr. Incredible because this suit is so lightweight. You don't even feel it on you. And after you're wearing it for a bit, it's just part of who you are, right?
You're used to all those muscles, You're
yeah,
like,
exactly. That's what it is. Yeah, exactly.
It feels normal.
The suit actually didn't come with muscles. This is all it's just spandex. This is all me. But so I basically went into the drugstore, went up to the pharmacy, and the lady's like, "So do we get a trick today?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Trick or treat." I was like, "Oh, happy Halloween." Didn't think anything of it. Everyone behind the counter, they're all laughing and stuff. There's like other people like pointing towards me. I'm like, "What the fuck's going on? Like I have something on my face or something?" And then I looked down. I was like, "Jesus Christ!" I couldn't believe it. So went there, Mr. Incredible, picked up my children's Advil, and we're good to go. But yeah, it was an interesting morning. But yeah, me, I like Halloween. I like, that one day a year you get to dress up and be stupid, be a kid again. It's a good time. Yeah. It's freezing cold here right now, but it's a good time. Other than that,
dude, here too, 34 this morning degrees.
Damn.
Do you guys are degrees or Celsius?
We do Celsius. Yeah. But we
kind of right? You just cross the border. It could be, you could literally just walk 1 foot to the next and it's 32 degrees. What's that?
Yeah. It does like -1. yeah. I think it's, but this Fahrenheit stuff makes sense though, because it's like 0 to 100. You know what I mean? It's like 100. Well, you can go higher, but I'm saying 100 is hot. It's just like you start at 0 and then it just goes to hot. Whereas us, it's a lot different. It's I don't know. We have a lot more minuses.
Negative hot.
Negative hot.
Negative freezing to negative hot.
Yeah, like what the fuck? What's going on here? It's like even like your miles per hour. It makes sense. You go 0.
All right, so I had one of those what the fuck moments the other day.
Nice. All right.
Driving down the road, we can all appreciate people who want to market their business.
Oh, yeah.
And we can appreciate the businesses that want to pay people to be out on the road while we drive by with a sign.
Doing usually dressed like this. All right. Yeah.
Can appreciate it all. Yeah. And can appreciate that they wanted me as a driver going down the road at 45 miles an hour. I can appreciate that their sign said, "Follow us," and then had a QR code.
No shit. Oh my God, I just about choked. Okay.
I can appreciate it. And at the same time, I can go, "What the fuck?" Like, we're driving down the road. You're wanting me to pull out my camera and take that QR code image and follow to the link, which I guess you have on social, so that then I can hit follow all the while I'm driving down the road.
Jesus Christ. And do you even remember what the company was?
No, because I actually got them confused with another company. It was a new coffee company.
Okay.
7 something brew or something. I thought it was Dutch Brothers, who seems to be this big growing coffee company that we see popping up everywhere. I thought it was them. But when I kept driving by, I went, "Oh, no, it's not them." They eventually stopped having the people out at the street. I guess they didn't get enough follows.
No shit.
Strange, right?
Jesus Christ.
But
Oh,
the reason why I can appreciate it is it's exactly something you and I have talked about, using QR codes to get people to do something.
yeah.
And if everybody wants to play along, let's rewind, right? Let's do Saturday Night Live. Let's go.
Yeah. And we're
Wayne's
back.
World, Wayne's World.
Oh man, that's
Back in the day, right? So let's
oh yeah, man.
rewind to what we talked about. If you're going to use QR codes, amazing to use right now. It's really making a big comeback if you do it the right way.
Yeah, you got it
And
right
that
place
was
and
the
time.
WTF, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, what the God?
Yeah.
Love it. I can appreciate it. Thank you. You're
Yeah.
like mind here, right? We're thinking alike. God damn it.
Clarity in
Wrong,
messaging
wrong
and using the right
application.
tools the right time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Wrong application. So those of you that all think, I got to do a QR code, I'm just going to stick it on my car and say,
yeah.
no, I got to have a reason to go still pull out my camera.
Exactly.
I've made a reassurance, but I still have to have a reason to pull out my camera.
Yep.
You gotta
100%.
give me a reason, and follow us is not the reason.
It's true. And most people don't even have their QR scanner as like a quick shortcut. It's not like a speed dial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to go like search for the app. You got to this, that. You're already gone. It doesn't serve the purpose there.
Wait, are you Android?
Oh yeah, of course. Ah, you just have the button right there. I'm Android all day.
You mentioned app, then you mentioned button.
Yeah.
So just be the time as an Apple user, I get to stick it to you, okay? Don't take it personal. This is just one of those. Anybody watch the Fury fight this weekend? I mean, it was that uppercut straight like this is the uppercut, okay? No. All I do is have to pull out my camera on the phone.
It just does it automatically.
It shows up a link.
That's pretty dope.
And I just.
But even still, you're not doing.
But
that
yes,
while
you're still
driving.
right. I'm still not.
Yeah. But no, hell no. Most times, to be honest, when I'm driving, my phone's in my pocket actually, because it was in my pocket when I got into the car, and I just didn't take it out, and it's just there. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people that still. Because come on, we can look around. There's plenty of people that still
are on their phone. Yeah.
They're not going to have the ability to drive and scan at the same time going down the road.
It's true. Well, the big part too is they would have to have the interest, and there's not really any reason to like. Where am I going? Why am I scanning this? Like,
who the hell are you? I thought you were another company, but you're this other company. I'm not
exactly. There's no intrigue there at all, and that's where So you have to build intrigue in business for marketing. And there was this thing I used to do back. I'm married now, happily married, but before I was married, I used to do this thing. There would always, if there was a pretty girl talking to a bunch of guys or something, or she was just occupied with her girls or whatever, you have to get her attention somehow. Advertising is the same. You have to get attention. You have to build intrigue as well. Just going up with some cheesy pickup line and then, like, hey, take my number, call me. Your success rate is going to be really low. So I used to do this thing. Now our money's made out of plastic. But before, when it was paper money, I was able to rip it in half. So I had this thing, the $20 bill trick. I'd rip it in half. I'd write my phone number and my name on one half. I'd just walk up, pass her the half, the ripped paper, and I'd be like, hey, call me later and we'll spend it together. And then I'd walk away. It built that intrigue. Did it work all the time? But 9 times out of 10, it worked, or like Anchorman, 60% of the time it works all the time or whatever it was. Yeah. But basically it was building that intrigue, and that's what that ad didn't do. Now, on the flip side of things, my wife and I went to the garden center and we were driving back and we saw this ad and I was like, holy shit, that ad is probably not appropriate in this day and age, but very effective. It was just a black and white sign, huge phone number, and then above it, it said circumcisions. That was it. Now, if you're in the market for a circumcision, right to the point. Okay, it's just boom, right there. But it was very clear. And so, like, even in this case, not remembering, what exactly the business even was, and then there's a QR code. It's like, there's no reason for you to scan that or want to scan that. There's no, compelling offer there for you to do so. But even still, it's they're not getting any part of their business across. Whereas a simple sign like that, just black and white, big letters, boom, this is exactly what we're due. This is how you call us. That kind of thing is going to generate a better response than, a QR code while you're flying down the highway. It's not going to, and what a wasted opportunity that is, right by a road with tons of traffic. It's phenomenal to me. Church signs are really good.
Would it have been better to take the Sean Gervais approach and go free coffee?
Boom, next right. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's true. 100%.
Once they're there, free coffee comes with, of course they would have had to
exactly. Now you've got them in there.
You got to do this, you got it right, but that would have been the better way. Right?
And that's where they could have put a QR code at the end of that treasure hunt and said, free coffee if you register for our newsletter. Sign up here, something like that, and then boom, they go there and then they enter their info. And now at least you've gotten something in return, right? So nothing's free necessarily, but yeah, I find, you ever see those church signs? You drive past a church and they've got some, like, not all churches do it, but some of them, they have like a clever quote or something like that on their billboard out front. And I find they're pretty good. Well, they're getting pretty good anyways at putting something clever as you're driving by and you're like, oh shit, look at that. I've seen some that are, none are coming to mind, but they're catchy. Not enough to draw me in, but if they had free coffee, then, go. But yeah, that is
around here. It used to be, and those are funny signs. Like it used to be more of like, because you're like, didn't draw me in. I'm like, oh, your feet didn't want to hit the fire too much, huh? Like, didn't draw you quite in of it. A lot of them here around guilt of, eternal damnation, or 1 hour sitting in a nice comfy pew. Okay, well, I could do that.
Yeah. I don't really like eternal damnation, so I mean, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but the whole marketing thing, that is funny though, because I've seen that a lot lately. I get asked a lot, with my shop, because there's new shops that open up all the time, and there's all the whole thing here. For example, one big issue, I don't know if it's the same elsewhere, but as it starts to get cooler, the mobile guys realize they have to start packing it up soon. And so they start doing crazy, ridiculous specials because they see their income source drying up. So they just try and take as many jobs as they can. And they also realize that with the weather changing, they don't have to do a spectacular job either on the exterior, for example, because the guy, it's going to be raining the next day or snow or whatever. So they just try and, it's a money grab. A lot of people have asked me, am I concerned about it? But I'm not concerned about any of the competitors, because the marketing that is out there is terrible. You're absolutely right. And I don't fully blame them, because I think we were talking about this before, where a lot of these detailers want someone to just do it all for them. They don't want to be a part of the process. And I think that can be dangerous at times, because you either have marketing companies that don't specialize in detailing at all, so they're just general marketers kind of thing. So they're not going to take the time to fully understand your, demographics and stuff like that. So that's where you need to play a part in that role. Or what I've seen lately, as I'm sure you've seen in the industry, there's a lot of auto-specific marketers that started off strong, and they're just now, I don't know, they're changing into some other beast where they're just very, very focused on the money and not focused on the results. And I've seen a lot of people just get scammed and screwed. And it's a shame what's going on in the industry right now. But I think now's as better a time as any to grab the reins in your own marketing, for sure.
Funny how there's some skeletons starting to come out of the closet, huh?
Speaking of Halloween, absolutely. Yeah, I've been seeing that. Some people that started off, their roadmap looked like it was going in a positive direction, and then it just, I don't know, a couple twists and turns and a couple of hurdles in the road. They did a fork in the road. That's what it was. And yeah, I've seen that. I've heard some horror stories, but
so I've seen too. This is the interesting part, is I actually saw it when I was scrolling through Instagram. I got marketed towards.
Oh shit! No way.
A company that was claiming, and it was. Listen, I actually took a moment and went, "Great job."
Yeah. All right.
I do. I
like their marketing was good.
I can appreciate when
yeah
people market to me and they do a good job. I can.
Yeah.
I can. I can appreciate it.
Yeah. You can see, you're like, that would work on the majority of, detailers out there. I've had that
Well,
happen to
and
me as
I can
well.
appreciate what they're offering, right? So, for
Yeah,
instance, this company was offering to have Google reviews done for them, right? Like,
yeah.
you know, as soon as this company, the market, as soon as customer is done, they leave your facility, they're going to get a link to leave a
Mm,
Google review. Well,
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. I'm so glad now in October 31 of 2023,
That's a
we're
possibility.
finally doing what OrbisX. I mean,
Has
how
been doing.
long have you? I mean, I think it's since we've been talking, you've always
Yeah,
discussed, always talked about how people should get Google reviews and how OrbisX was the front runner in helping them get Google reviews. And here was this other app
absolutely.
that books for them, and you're not able, but hey, you know, you can do it. We're going to send people.
Yeah, to
Awesome.
leave a review.
It was great. Finally, late
Yeah,
fall of
finally.
2023.
I know, right? They just had to wait for Chat GPT and a bunch of other things to line up for them. That's right. But yeah, that was one of the first features that was built into OrbisX, and it was because obviously we built the calendar. That was the first thing because we had to put away, you know, to keep track of our jobs and stuff like that. But then it was what happens after the job because people buy because we're offering value, but other people buy because that trust is there, and so when they see those reviews like we're really big on reviews. That's how we base most of our commission for our staff, things like that. And we have to have a process of getting those reviews. We tried with having our staff, you know, hey, you can make sure you leave us a review afterwards, stuff like that. But you know, just that alone wasn't enough. So we had to build a system that followed up properly and then build a system that could also curb those negative reviews from the positive ones and so on and so forth. That's how we've been able to accumulate 1,200 plus 5-star reviews now, which I'm really proud of for our shop because that's quite the feat. And doing so wouldn't have been possible without a system like OrbisX. And so that's definitely been something since the beginning. And there's a few components. There's the big one is
Yeah,
the time.
let's get
Yeah,
into how people use OrbisX to get the reviews. So yes, 100%, right? You've talked about it. It's been a thing. OrbisX front runner in Google reviews. Zero
100%.
questions out there.
Yeah, 100%. And
How does a user of OrbisX, once again, if you use OrbisX, have Aaron do all your stuff, just pay
set it
me,
up.
let
Yeah,
Aaron
just
do
pay
it.
the yeah.
It
Get it
really is the way
optimized.
to do it. Okay. But let's walk through then though. Where in the section of OrbisX, you know, what link am I trying to get? What does the back end kind of look like? Walk us through some of that part of it.
Sure. Yeah, good questions. So in the system, there's your admin settings. That's where you have all your settings for everything. You have your settings for the currency you're using, your sales tax, your you name it, invoice, deposit settings, all kinds of stuff. And there's a section in there for reviews. Under your reviews, there's two components. There's the component for asking for reviews, and then there's the component for displaying reviews. Because getting reviews is great, but you have to also show them off because that's basically your trust within the community that, hey, other customers like you
Yeah.
trusted our, hey, exactly, community. Other people trusted us. That leads to more sales. So we do two parts. One is collecting reviews. The second part is showing those reviews off. So I'll touch on both briefly. So what you need is a Google business page. So it's Google Business My Listing. Used to be Google My Pages or Google Plus, and they've gone through different name changes. But now
Absolutely.
it's yeah, they really have.
They're like Facebook. Facebook
Yeah,
always has something new. You're like, why did this Facebook thing work? Well, because that was like 3 months ago. They don't.
exactly. Oh, you're still using Facebook recommendations? No, sorry, that's called something else now. It's Facebook suggestions or Facebook this that. Yeah, it's exactly big identity crisis for these guys online. But now at the time of recording this, Google My Business. That's what you want. You want to set up a page. It's free with Google. You just have to verify your listing with them. You should have one anyways. If you don't have a website, this is a great place to start at least, so you can put up your photos, offers, things like that. Another great feature by integrating with OrbisX.
All right, great place to start. So
Yeah.
hold on a second, because it's also a place that people might go, whoa, hold on.
So it's All right. So setting up a Google My Business listing, you need a website. Absolutely, in this day and age.
You have to, okay.
Yeah.
So to make sure that I get all the benefits of what OrbisX can do through Google, I really do need a website.
You really should. Absolutely. Especially because it'll show up on your Google My Business profile, and it's just one more step. Even if the customer never visits your website, knowing you have one just makes you look more established. And it's literally the cheapest real
So then
estate
how
you'll
far do I
ever
need
buy.
to go with the website, right? Because this begins some of those questions of
It
all
starts
the,
to get,
you can
do
run
I
down
need to,
so many
yeah,
other rabbit trails. So well, let's not go there, but ultimately though, if I can think, how, not necessarily how much money, but is it just I can just go to anybody that's selling any type of website created for my name and throw a couple photos on there and I'm good? Do I need to
you
actually go through
could.
the process of having a company actually make me something tangible that's got some of the SEO built into it and all the links and all that fun stuff?
Yeah. I think it would depend on where you are at the process of your business. Like if you're a startup and funds are limited, for example, I'll literally give you in 30 seconds a playbook of how you could get started for very little money. What you could do is go to namecheap.com. You could buy a domain name. They range from, $10 to $15, something like that. So you get your website.com, whatever it happens to be. Then with them, you also need hosting, which is file storage. So sometimes you can get that with, something like WordPress built in or something like that. That way it's a website builder. That's what WordPress is. But the other option, if you're just starting out, would be something like Wix. So Wix.com, even Google has Google sites, so you can, buy your domain name and set up a website through Google as well. They have drag and drop builders, things like that. But the other option would be going through an agency as well. If you're a more established business, if you've got a budget for something like this, I would definitely recommend having someone help you with that side of things, unless you're proficient with, websites and HTML, things like that. But you could definitely benefit from it. That being said, there are a lot of different companies that offer this type of service. They range from bad to worse, and a couple good ones sprinkled in. So you really have to be careful on who you go with. Some of them, they have contracts. Some of them are heavily overpriced, in my opinion. Um, you could expect for a 10-page website, you should expect, I would say, to spend between $500 and $1,000 for a basic site. There's a lot of people that are charging significantly more, and they come with monthly fees and all kinds of things. You can avoid a lot of that. If you want any info on that, just shoot me an email afterwards, Sean@orbisx.com, SHAWN at orbisx.com. I'll point you in the right direction, give you some assistance, stuff like that. My goal is to make sure that detailers don't get burned in this industry, because there's a lot of people out there right now that are masquerading as if they know what they're doing, and they're just taking people for a ride. So I'm here to help change that. That's my goal here. But there are ways to definitely get started on the cheaper side of things. But the beauty about OrbisX as well is that your booking form is designed to embed in your website or
Hold on, I want to
stand
say
alone.
something there.
Yeah,
You
sure.
said cheaper.
Yeah.
Sometimes cheaper gets misunderstood.
Mm,
So we
okay.
talk about there's a lot of people that will go grab, hey, I went over to this auto parts store and I got this product that they're saying is superior. I can dilute it X amount and it's really cheap.
Yeah. Cheap
Cheap
doesn't
in our
necessarily.
industry really,
Yeah.
I would want to lean towards the better value
Mm, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
because long term,
Yeah.
you will eventually burn wheels if you use that cheap product.
Hmm.
There's iron decons out there that are low pH, but they don't talk about it.
Mm.
And they might be a cheap alternative, but we see proof.
Sometimes what happens, yeah.
We see proof of
Yeah.
wheels that get burnt. So that's why I wanted to make sure I clarify. I
Yeah,
think I
no,
knew what you
that's a good
meant,
point.
but cheap isn't what we're necessarily looking for.
Yeah, less expensive and more budget conscious options.
Value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are ways like even Namecheap, they're a great company for domain names. Domain names are just basically an address online that points to an IP address of some kind down the road. So even though like cheap is in the name, for example, it's just domain names, but you shouldn't be paying more than $10 to $15 for a domain name unless you're buying a domain name someone already owns that you want to take over or something like that. So you can expect like startup costs for a website, $10 to $15 for a domain name, hosting on average around $10 per month. So you're looking at 120 a year, and hosting is just file storage online because it needs to be on a server somewhere. That way your website is connected, and the address just tells people when they type it in online where to go. So it's just an address that goes to a server. That's where your website files are. You can get websites. I've seen some people on Fiverr.com. They've developed websites that are not terrible. Is it going to be the best website ever? Is it going to be optimized for SEO and all this and that? Maybe, but most likely not, depending on what you're spending there. However, it's a starting block. It's somewhere to
I
start.
think if you want to go ahead and say that we're already into this bouquet of tips, like
This is true.
I mean, come on. You
It's
mentioned
Halloween.
something there that most detailers, I don't think I even know about. And then second of all, probably are like, wait, what? Like Fiverr.
Yeah, Fiverr. You can get all kinds of stuff done. Logos,
Oh,
flyers,
let's
business
compare
cards.
Fiverr to Temu for all the people that want to buy cheap shit.
Yeah,
Fiverr, you can find people that want to sell their services at a really great rate.
yep.
And for them, they're making good money because the exchange rate in North America versus other parts of the country. Sorry, other parts
Other parts of the world. Yeah,
other parts of the world, they're making really great
they're
money.
making good money. Yeah,
They are.
and it just happens to be that we're in a position where our dollar is worth more, and so
You don't need to dig through. Just the
yeah,
same as Temu. Just
yeah,
the same as Amazon has become, right? Like you got to dig through now a little bit.
it's true, and find some. Yeah. Now, on that note, to add to the tip is that there's another website as well called Upwork. UP
Add to
Work.
the tip. But again,
Yeah,
I mean, once you add to the tip, that tip's
putting
already
a little more in. Just putting a little more in. I'm
there.
Mr. Incredible today.
Okay, hold on.
So Upwork. So Fiverr, first off, how it works is pretty cool. You go, you create a profile, and then
Upwork is fun, yeah.
you look for people, and then they offer a service, and you tell them about your project. Upwork works kind of in reverse, where you create a profile, and instead of looking for people, you would post your project, and then people that match those criteria of what you need will bid. And so they'll say, I could do that for this price, or I charge this per hour, so on and so forth. Between the two, Fiverr is great as a good starting point for most things. Between the two, Upwork, you'll usually find more higher quality individuals, or different skill sets, but the cost will be a little bit more than Fiverr. So Fiverr is kind of like the dollar store of skill sets, whereas Upwork, you'll pay a little bit more than Marty. Stop. I was just trying to put in a comparison for what you're going to spend, not for people's capabilities. Because you'll find some people on Fiverr that they can do some pretty amazing things, actually. Really good stuff. One guy helped me with my audiobook. So I, wrote the book, and then I didn't want to do the audio side of it, and he helped me out with that side. Because I was looking at, it was going to take hours and hours and hours to do the audio side, but I was giving away the book for free. So I wanted to reduce the time it took, and he helped me out with that. And that was from Fiverr. Absolutely. Even my company that we have right now, Creative Designs, we do work for brands like Toyota, Harley Davidson, things like that. We use Fiverr. And what we do is I have staff that I'm paying $65 to $85 an hour. Instead of paying them to start from scratch, I'll pay someone on Fiverr $15. They'll make something that I know is not going to be perfect, but then I'll pass that over to my guy I'm paying $65 an hour. He'll refine it, and instead of me paying 65 for the whole hour, I'm paying 15 for the guy on Fiverr, and then I'm paying a half hour maybe for my other guy to refine it. So it's just slight savings here and there, but
too many moves. You went way over everybody's head. They're gone.
that's too many moves.
No idea what you're talking.
So we'll circle back. So basically, for a website, it's really simple to get started, but also not necessarily needed in the beginning if you're just starting out, because OrbisX can stand on its own. If you're interested in getting a website set up, message, we can help get you set up, no problem. But OrbisX can stand on its own. Google is free and quick to set up, and you should definitely have a Google profile because that's one of the only ways you're going to show up in Google Maps. It's one of the only ways you'll show up in the Google listings instantly. So registering with Google for a Google My Business account makes total sense. It's free to do, just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. If you're not sure, what I should write in my About Us section, something like that, go to OpenAI, go to ChatGPT, and just type in, I have a detailing company in Sarasota, Florida. Please write me, an about paragraph for my company, and boom, it'll spit something out. You can copy and paste it. Why are you shaking your head? What's going on,
Because
buddy?
so my wife,
Yeah.
she has created some stuff, done some things, and she sent me over something of her business that is, as you know, but maybe not everybody understands, is house cleaning.
Yeah.
Her About Us part,
Yeah. Oh boy.
yeah.
Mm.
Sean, this is the part that I'm going to go ahead and say no.
No.
Drink my beer.
Yeah. So was it from AI?
And go,
Ah,
yes. It didn't
okay.
make sense. It was words that people don't normally use because you and I both have been in some of these. Listen, I don't disagree or don't think that somebody shouldn't do this because that's how I made it through school. I use Cliff Notes.
Ah,
AI is basically Cliff Notes. Let's just be. If anybody is 35 and up, you remember these books that were like yellow and black or green, neon green, but I don't remember.
The ones I had were yellow. Yeah.
Okay, yellow. Perfect.
Yeah.
Nailed it the first time.
Yeah.
Yellow and black, right?
Yeah.
It had like these couple little lines, right? And it was like Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
You could get the abbreviated version of
an entire
book down to like 30 pages. Passed a lot of tests. I wrote papers. I did a lot of things off of the Cliff Notes. So I am not the guy that say don't use the Cliff Notes. I use the Cliff Notes. I just want everybody to understand they're just the Cliff Notes.
Yes, it's true. It doesn't replace a professional writer, the human intonations that are there when you're, writing something, invoking emotion. I agree. I do have a solution for that as well, by the way. So AI is based on prompts. So it's based on what you ask it. And it's very literal. So think of, we all have that friend, you can ask them to do something, or maybe it's your kids, who knows? You ask them to do something and they literally do exactly that. They didn't really put any thought behind it. They just did exactly that. Like if you say, hey, can you take this dirty dish and bring it over to the sink? When really what you mean is bring it over to the sink, empty out some of the stuff into the trash, and then, rinse off the plate. Now it's ready for the dishwasher, whatever the case is.
It's just needs to be kind of reworded into normal.
Yeah.
So is where I was going, right? Like
100%. And I do have a tip for people on how to use this. So 3 parts. So one is AI works well when it's told what worlds it's in. So, and what I mean by that is, if you just approach AI and say, hey, write me an About Us page for my detailing company, it doesn't have any parameters. It's just going to go haywire and do whatever. But if you give it some parameters and you tell it what world it's in, you say, hey, listen, imagine, start off like that. Imagine you're a detailing company in Sarasota, Florida, and you've got 4 employees and your company is blah, 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 whatever. Give it a couple notes. Say, that's part 1. That's prompt 1. Hit enter. Now you've told it to imagine something. It's living in this world now. Then you can say, imagine we're revamping our website and we want to have an About Us page that's friendly, sounds very humanistic, is written at a grade 8 level or whatever the case may be. Give it some prompts and then say, include the following, and tell it things to include. We opened in 2005. We work on these kinds of cars or whatever. Give it some information. You'll see that the results are going to be night and day. It'll write something incredible. Now, that being said, I would never recommend just copy pasting anything from AI, ever. Read it at the very least and make sure that the grammar sounds natural, make sure it's whatever, this and that. Ultimately, I would suggest your About Us page should be written by yourself. It's about you. You should be able to tell your story pretty easily. But if you're struggling, it's a good place to start and then tweak that. But for the sake of this, to post it on your Google My Business page, I'm sure it'll be sufficient to at least fill in some of those pockets of space.
All right. So
you're like, okay.
If I'm writing, and I'm going to not do the Cliff Notes.
All right.
And I'm going to write an About Us page. You said, hey,
Yeah.
It's about you.
Yeah.
Here's what I did. I go, you know what? You're right. And this whole About Us that I was reading from AI was, of course, it had random words and random things that were being said. And that's why, you should proofread. You're right. You should proofread. Or should you use About Us section to have somebody want to use you?
Well, I think every page you write should be directed towards that.
Wow!
I think that's,
but the About Us section should be all about me.
Wrong. No, I think,
Wrong.
Yeah.
When I started to write this, I go, no, we're not talking about how great you are.
Yeah.
We're talking about how great you can help your customers.
This is how we're the missing piece to your puzzle.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Bingo.
100%.
Bingo. Yeah. I think if people start going into that direction, the About Us section won't be the bypass page, because everybody's going to tell you on your website you need an About Us page. But how many of us actually go to somebody's About Us page and go, wow, well, sign me the right now. That About Us page hooked me. I'm in. No. The typical About Us page is blabbing on bullshit about how great you are.
We won the Chamber of Commerce.
About how great you are. I'm a customer that needs shit. Yeah. So I click on the About Us to see if you're somebody that can handle my problems, not about how fucking great you are.
Exactly. I don't care about your 11th place fucking ribbons. Yeah, exactly.
And that's certifications you have.
You're absolutely right. And
I got a dirty car. Can you clean it or not? Are you the type of person that handles stuff for moms who drive minivans?
Yep, right there. You just hit a target market. Whoever's reading that, you're like, okay, great. I'm either looking maybe for my wife, or my wife is looking at the page.
Are you the type of person that has a dirty car? Well, since such and such and such, we've been helping moms that have dirty minivans clean out their car for the next time they get. We've helped busy professionals that don't have enough time, right?
Exactly.
That's the About Us. We're the people that help solve problems. We're not the people that are like, I fucking have these. I've done this, and I have this certification. Fuck. That doesn't mean shit.
It's true. It's true. And especially now, customers are really savvy nowadays. Customers are really savvy. They see a lot of this kind of shit all over the place. And as much as we're aware of AI as business owners, customers are also aware of AI as well. They're aware that it's out there. They've gotten automated responses from other companies.
Because in their world, they're getting marketed to of AI, and then they read this stuff. Makes no sense, and they go, these people just use AI.
I'd even argue they're actually probably more savvy than most of us business owners, I would say, because they're getting it on a daily basis. The advantage we have is we also sign up for shit too, so we're also consumers. But customers, they know when it's a real person, when it's automation. They know when it's, and good automation kind of fakes it, so it seems real. But that's where you gotta, on that note, I had someone tell me in the group, they said, well, I have my reminder set out to go 24 hours before. but I don't want my customer to get a reminder at 8 p.m. And I said, well, yeah, but that's 24 hours before 8 p.m. They said, yeah, but I want it to be sent out during like business hours. So it seems like it came from me. And I said, listen, if it only comes from business hours, it'll probably seem like it's a computer more than if it came at 8 p.m. Because if it comes at 8 p.m., they're probably like, oh, this fucking guy's working like right through the night. I said, so let that be. It's going to be like, holy shit, this guy's making sure I'm reminded about my appointment at 8 p.m. But I said, what you should do is instead change your appointment times, change it to 8:05 so that it sends out at 8:05. Because the customer's not going to see that. They're going to see the 8 o'clock, no problem. But it's these little kind of tweaks. I'm happy if a customer gets a reminder at a certain time that seems like it's not a computer doing it. It's just like, why the hell would a computer program to send me this at that time? Does that make sense? But anyway, I think that with the About Us stuff, definitely it's for the consumer. That your whole website, in fact, your whole online presence, your whole company presence, it's all about the customer. All of it. You got to appeal to your ideal customer, because the trophies you've won, the plaques on your wall, all that shit, save that for your family and relatives. Tell them how great you are. The stuff for your consumer.
Well, we've talked about websites, talk about website people, like we've talked, and the majority of all the websites around detailers is about, here's our packages, here's our photos, here's how great we are.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, Jesus. You know, it's funny. I was talking to a guy in the group. He does detailing, but he also does video stuff. I was talking to him this afternoon, and he does videos for business owners telling their story. And I said, send me one of your examples. He sent me this one today. The guy's a tailor. And he said, yeah, this guy's in my local neighborhood. I wanted to help him out as his business. So I did this video for him. What do you think? He sent it to me. I was blown away. It was just a picture of this guy. And he starts off, he introduces himself and he says, yeah, I've had this old Italian guy. I've had this, tailoring business for a long time. And then it switches from him. You can still hear his voice. He's narrating Morgan Freeman style. And it just starts showing the sewing machines and stuff like that as they're going through things, and they're, renewing some boots and all kinds of stuff. They're just doing all kinds of shit. And he's telling the story of how they came here, why they do what they do, and the joy that he gets out of renewing someone's clothing that meant a lot to them at the time, something they felt good in, something, the miles they put on in their shoes and stuff like that. I tell you, by the time he was done, I wanted to take all my dry cleaning and drive down. I was like, no shit. It was just amazing. And it was telling the whole story. He didn't have to tell me how many, like medals they've won, how many times they've been featured in the, the paper or this and that, all this shit. Instead, he just told me the passion of why they do what they do and how they deliver such excellence because the care they put into it. I felt like my boots were going to be his boots, and I was like, holy shit, like that is amazing. And so that's the kind of feeling you want to transfer to your customers, and that's what your About Us page should be about. It's like, why do you do what you do?
So for those of you that don't know, my tip was already slid in, it's back out.
I felt it.
We just went 10 minutes into it. That's a great tip. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so before we get into your tip, I know one of my tips going to be, I'll let everybody know, pre-tip for later episode, because you mentioned Morgan Freeman.
All right.
Netflix has this new series, number 2, I think, in the polls right now, like About Life or something. And it's Morgan Freeman. The animation's incredible.
Damn.
And it's about, how as a planet we started, the different over the millions of years, listen, this isn't a discussion about if you believe in all of evolution. This is during this period of time, these people, not people, these mammals, and then, there was a mammal time right there. This is where I didn't do so great in school. So that you
need the Cliff Notes. That's
I read the Cliff Notes. I don't remember the exact names of all the different creatures that existed in this point in time. But it's a great series. And one of my tips in the future is going to be based off of something he talked about, rules of life. And inside of rules of life are evolution. And as detailers, no pre-tips.
No pre-tips.
Come later.
Yeah, no pre-tips.
No pre-tips. Tips. Tips are all you. There you go.
All right. Well, looking forward to that one, and I'll be quick with mine. A lot of people in business, and we've talked about this here, and speaking of about us pages, a lot of business books say you need to start with why. And you need to figure out your why and this and that. Everything revolves around why, right? Whys are great. However, I was listening to a hostage negotiator recently. I wasn't robbing a bank or anything. It wasn't that kind of scenario, but no comments.
He was talking to me and telling me.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, I'm inside this place right now, but no. So he was suggesting that replace all of your whys with whats, and the reason is because when you ask why to your customers, people tend to get defensive. So, for example, Marty, I mentioned this earlier, but if I was to ask you, why did you wear that black shirt today?
Well,
you would have a reason. Yeah. You would have a reason, but your reason would instantly be a defensive point of view. Like you have to defend your why, right? And so when you ask customers that sometimes, it might be maybe you can't close a deal and you're like, well, why doesn't the price make sense to you? Or why this? Or why are you, if you ask them why, it puts them in a
I'm
position.
just going to go to the next guy. Well, why?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, and now they have to defend their position. And so now you're butting heads with your prospect instead of bringing yourself close together. Whereas if you change it to a what, and so what's are great because they follow statements instead of questions, and you can get the why out of them by saying something with a what. And so his example that he used was, he said, in this case, for example, with the black shirt. So instead of why did you wear the black shirt, if I want to find out why you're wearing the black shirt, I could say, oh, you wore that black shirt because black's my favorite color and you wanted to wear that one today. And you instinctively will want to correct me. So you should never underestimate the power of the other side wanting to correct you, because it makes them feel powerful, makes them feel smarter. And they will say, no, actually, I didn't wear this because you want me to wear it. I wore this shirt because it's my lucky shirt, and tonight my favorite football team is playing, and da-da-da-da. And you'll tell me the reason without it. So how they do things in hostage negotiating is, instead of saying, like, why are you robbing this bank or something like that, and the guy gets defensive, they end up in a big fight. They'll say things like, listen, man, I know the economy's tough right now, and so you found yourself inside this bank because you're trying to take care of your family and this and that. And he'll have some other reason. He'll bring it up. No, I'm doing it because this bank, they denied me my mortgage and they owe me and whatever. The real reason will come to light. And so that was the suggestion from the hostage negotiator. And I think it rings true in your business when you stop asking things like, why this, or why aren't you doing business with us? Why aren't you, subscribing to our, I saw you unsubscribed. Why did you unsubscribe? These kinds of things. Instead, if you flip it and you change those to what statements instead. So something with your customer could be, you can make a statement like, okay, listen, we sell, ceramic coating, and I'm sure you've done your research, of course. And, I'm sure my competitors, they're charging less than we are, but we're offering hyperClean. We have the Trace product available. It's 3 years of coating, da-da-da-da. And they'll say, well, no, actually, your competitor's not cheaper. It's just, the guy, he answered the phone when I called him, and you guys took a day to get back to me or something. You'll find out the real reasons more sooner why they're not doing business with you by changing your whys to whats. So that was his premise, and it actually works. It's something that I employed with my family. So I did it with my wife and my children. With certain things, I used to say things to my kids like, why didn't you get your homework done? Why isn't this and that? And they would instantly get defensive. We're in a big fight now. And I changed that to whats instead. I was like, listen, I know, you got that band thing coming up. And so that's probably why you haven't started your homework yet. No, I haven't started my homework because I was doing this group project with this other kid and stuff. Boom, fight avoided, and find out the real thing, what's going on. Tried it out in the business as well. And it works surprisingly well. People just want to tell you. It's amazing. Like, people just want to correct me and tell me their real inner thoughts as to, why they're making a certain decision or why they're doing something a certain way. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of retailers that don't want to do sales and are scared of sales.
Sales are just a conversation. If you want to do customer service, you're doing sales.
And using what instead of why
Yeah,
will be a
makes
great
it less
thing
daunting.
Yeah, because they can then just say, instead of, well, why didn't you want to, right? Oh,
Exactly.
well, what about $2.99 is it that you didn't like?
Hmm. Exactly.
And let the
Right
customer
there.
tell you,
Boom.
oh, well, the guy down the street said he can, okay, well, what is in his offer? Let's compare
Exactly.
apples to apples.
Two apples. And then he's
What
going to
is a
tell you.
great question. It is. It
Yeah,
is a wonderful question to ask.
it
It
is.
helps people clarify what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, you got X, Y, and Z. Okay, all good. Let's make sure that we're comparing your X, Y, and Z with my A, B, and C. What is it about X, Y, and Z that you love?
Yeah.
They will
Exactly.
now discuss, and
Yeah.
that gives us the next opportunity to offer. If we do then believe at that right time, and it's the best thing for the customer, we can then offer them what would be the best thing. But
Exactly.
benefit of what's, here's why I tell people I don't like sales either, the way most people typically view sales. When I pulled up to a car dealership and I went to that used car spot and that
Mm.
guy walked out with that slick back hair, I went, fuck no,
Yep.
I'm out.
Yep.
Most people don't want to be that guy. I don't either. So I don't
Yeah.
want to sell people. I want to see what they need.
And then fill that need. Exactly. Provide the solution. Absolutely. And that's where at the end of our sales pitch, we always do the same thing. If the customer seems kind of hesitant, we say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the value that you feel we're providing for that price? And then they'll say, well, it was about a 5 or it was a 6, it's okay. And then we hit them with what would make it a 10? And then we literally ask them to tell
Yeah,
us exactly what they need for us to drive that home over the finish line.
absolutely.
And
And or
then,
all the people that list out their price and they go, so and so down the street said they could do it for X amount. Okay. What goes into that package?
exactly,
I'm not
exactly.
fighting them. I'm
Yeah,
not asking them, well, why would you want, we're much better. I'm not doing it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
what goes into it?
exactly. And that's where the what versus the why makes a huge difference.
Great question. What?
Yeah, see, exactly. Yeah, very
Sit down.
underused too.
Sit
A lot
down.
of business books tell you start with why,
Mhm. Yeah,
it's, yeah, sometimes it's better to do what.
I like it.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Great job.
There we go. See, it was a good one from Mr. Incredible. I had to do it at least once or twice during the episode. So
Absolutely.
you have to. I'm probably gonna just wear this every time now. Yeah, hey now, No, it's happening. Well, awesome. All right, so I'm looking forward to this one from Morgan Freeman. So okay, so that'll be next week then. Good stuff. All right, keep us on a cliffhanger. I love it. You already gave some tips, so I mean, we're all tipped out here, and I definitely throw out at least a bouquet this time. So people should be happy. So there we go. Trick or treat. You get the trick and the treat. But well, on that note, I'm off to do some trick or treating my damn self. But thank you, Marty. Appreciate you. Everybody, remember everything we talked about today. This was a good one. But yeah, so we'll see you next Tuesday, same place, same time. Don't forget to tune into the HyperClean Pints of Polishing podcast as well. Kind of merge the two together there. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Appreciate you. Over and out.